Hello everyone, I'm TJ the Brickwright and welcome to my Lego room. Today is going to be a little bit more subdued but also very exciting because we're going to be talking about my Lego game, but it's probably not in the way that you think. No, I don't have any actual game footage for you yet. I plan on having that when the update comes next month. But as of right now, I'm going to be sharing with you probably the largest and most ambitious project that I have ever undertaken. This ambitious project has not as much to do with the design of the game and everything to do with how I get the big game published. Now, over the last few years, one of the largest ways and most effective ways of getting a board game or tabletop game funded has been through Kickstarter. I know there are other platforms out there that may be better. However, what I've heard is that it's good to try out these different platforms before you really go all in on your big project. What I've decided to do is to make a Kickstarter that's going to fail. After the many years of research that I have done and the advice that I have garnered from this research, I have discovered the number one thing about Kickstarter is your first Kickstarter fails. So we're going to make our first Kickstarter that's going to fail. And it has to do with Lego, but not so much of a game and more of an insane idea. This insane idea is that I'm going to do a puzzle build. And at first I was like, okay, what am I going to puzzle build? I should do something big, something cool, right? So I started looking over the new sets that have come out, and there's not a whole lot that interests me, and the things that already interest me I've already purchased and built with the instructions, so I would have kind of a cheating head start. So I started looking at the new sets that are available, and I saw the new battle pack, the Hoth Trooper battle pack. Great set. That should be an easy puzzle build, right? Maybe a little too easy, like a Kickstarter to build one of these. And the reason I would do that is I'd live stream it, and then I have rewards for people who participated and who donated, right? Well, this thing's $20. I'm sure I could probably get enough people to do a $20 live stream to do a puzzle build. A few people would be interested to see how I did. I don't know. It doesn't seem like that big of a goal. But something that would be a little bit harder of a goal would be the Hoth ATST. This would be a crazy puzzle build. For those of you who don't know what a puzzle build is, you don't use the instructions. You only use the pictures that are on the box. Now, this box actually has quite a few pictures of the inside of the creation. Actually, there's only one. There's only one picture. This would be hard. I've done one other ATST. I did the Mandalorian ATST, and that took about 4 hours. And that was a little over 400 pieces. So I estimate that each 100 pieces or so would probably be about an hour. Maybe a little less depending on what section of the build I'm working on. But so this one would probably take anywhere from 4 to 6 hours because I have built ATSTs before. I kind of know how they work. It wouldn't be that big of a deal. I think we could probably do that. You know, it's a $50 set, so I need to make at least $50 in order to do it as a puzzle build for the Kickstarter. That was the kind of idea that I was working towards. Of course, then I ended up picking it up myself, so don't really need a Kickstarter for that. But what would be big enough that I would need a Kickstarter that also would challenge me, that would possibly make me have to take time off work, and would be a big enough Kickstarter that, you know, if I'm going to take time off work, I kind of still need to pay my bills. So it'd have to be a big enough Kickstarter to pay my bills for however amount of days that I took off work. Then I had an insane amount of circumstances come, and don't worry, I'm getting to the set that I'm thinking about. Some of you may be jumping ahead, and to all my patrons, you already know what I'm about to talk about. Speaking of patrons, I want to give a special thanks to Frankie, TJ, Michael, Mustafarian, and Tantan. You guys are awesome, and all of you will already get the base tier supporter stuff for the Kickstarter and the live stream and everything. Because you guys support me on Patreon, I'm giving you an automatic ticket into the Kickstarter, so you don't have to worry about that. A while back, Lego released a set. They released this insane set called the UCS AT-AT. And I know what you're thinking. Just hold on. There's a story to this, and I'll explain what set I'm actually looking at doing the Kickstarter for. So I ended up buying 2 of these AT-ATs, having looked at previous UCS sets and how they have gone up in value and how they tend to sell for more than their MSRP because Lego doesn't really keep them in stock. Plus there was an exclusive Luke's lightsaber, which I thought was a little bit nicer than the Yoda lightsaber, a little bit bigger, more pieces. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to invest in this. I'm going to see if I can turn a profit. So I got 2 of these AT-ATs. And just for those of you who think I'm super rich, unfortunately, I made a bad decision to buy them on credit. So I am trying to pay that down. It's 0%. So I've got a little bit of time to make the money back. But the idea was that I was going to be able to sell the lightsabers and the AT-AT and maybe make a little bit of profit, help the channel a little bit. It was a business decision. And unfortunately, it didn't quite work out that way. I ended up losing a little bit of money on the first AT-AT. However, I still have the Luke's lightsaber. Maybe one day I'll be able to make up the money on that. But those things are not selling very well. I'll tell you that. Anyway, long story short, I was able to sell one of the AT-ATs. I still have both of Luke's lightsabers and another AT-AT. So I thought, why not build the AT-AT as a puzzle build? Oh, it's got really good pictures, right? You can see so much of how it works. Look at that cross section. It's fantastic. Isn't that great? And then on the top, it's got pictures of the top of it. It's got a picture from the very front on this side. It's got a picture of the back on the other. And even on the bottom, it's got a picture underneath. So I can literally see every direction on this on this set. The whole thing. That should be an easy puzzle build, right? Well, as you can imagine, as I said before, I figure for every 100 pieces, it takes about an hour to figure out exactly where they go in the end, especially with rebuilds and all that stuff. I'm including all that time based on previous puzzle builds. This set is 6,785 pieces. So according to my previous estimate of time, this would take me about 68 hours to puzzle build. Now I look at how long it's taken people to actually build it with the instructions. They're talking 24 hours with the instructions. I don't know if I could do this in a single week. I think that this could take up to 2 weeks to actually puzzle build because of how massive this set is. And yes, I'm insane. Yes, I think this would be absolute fun to do. And yes, I do want to compare the size of this thing to my ATTC, my giant 6-legged walker. Because I want to know which one's bigger. I really do. It's very tempting. I want to find it out. So the whole point of this Kickstarter is actually not entirely to make it work. In the end, if this Kickstarter doesn't work, which I'm very confident that it may not, luckily my wife and I's Lego business that we're running our Bricklink store would end up buying it from me and holding on to it or parting it out so that we can sell that on our Bricklink store. Now this wasn't really an option for me to do a live stream puzzle building the UCS AT-AT in my current home. So my wife and I got together and we actually found another home and we're getting ready to move, which is one of the reasons why, if you look behind me, the shelves of the Lego room are becoming quite bare. In our new house, there are a couple upgrades. Number one, the Lego room is going to be bigger, like a significant amount bigger. And number two, we're going to have good enough internet that I'll be able to stream again, which I'm really looking forward to. And I thought, what a better way to start off the streaming than by puzzle building and live streaming the UCS AT-AT. Well, there's a lot of better things I could do than live streaming a puzzle build at the UCS ATAT, but it sounded interesting. It sounded like fun. So, at the end of this project, whether it funds or fails, I'm going to have learned a lot about the Kickstarter process, about organic growth, about how to advertise, about which methods of advertising or sharing the idea about this project are best. And I'm starting here because you're positive, you're helpful, you suggest awesome things like the sphere video last week. I never knew how many spheres Lego had until you guys started pointing them out and sending me links. Whether or not this Kickstarter funds or fails, we're going to learn a lot about it. And I hope to be able to take that knowledge and decide whether or not Kickstarter is a platform that is going to be good enough for the Lego game to be able to fund and to be able to start that and to distribute it to the people who are interested in playing it at their kitchen table. So you may be wondering, when is TJ planning to do this? And the plan right now is for the Kickstarter to begin in April. That gives us enough time to move into our new house, get our internet set up, do a couple of test runs, maybe a couple of live streams on some weekends next month, film a video, and get the campaign launched. I'm expecting it to only be a 30-day campaign. I know that some campaigns go for 60 days, but I think this one would probably fit a little better in the 1 month category, and I plan on having the live stream ready to go for the May the 4th week. And I would take the time off of work, and the puzzle building would begin on the week of May 4th, which is not the week that Obi-Wan Kenobi comes out for some silly reason. Well, thank you for sticking around. I hope this has been an interesting look into the life of TJ the Brickwright in my Lego room. And until we see you next time, play well.